Hey you guys, this is Dave and I want to talk about breaking down gift records by fund. Now this is a topic that came up on the Facebook Razor's Edge group, and while there's lots of solutions, lots of different ways you can do this both inside and outside the database, I'm always partial to doing things outside. Why is that? Breaking things down by fund. Standard reports, there are a few standard reports where you can do this. You can look at your giving history and you can break it down by fund, but those have profound limits. Among them are the time it takes to make a change and then go back, rerun the report or rerun your query, and then have to rerun your report. And this creates a lot of delay, and it doesn't always seem worth the trouble and the effort. You can do this in Excel. It can be kind of clumsy and inelegant using the pivot tables. Sometimes Excel pivot tables are really great. They're a really quick way to do what you want, but they are not terribly sophisticated. Visual analysis tools, on the other hand, give the most customization and allow you to have the greatest confidence in your data. Okay, let's take a look. So here's a typical comparison and summaries report. This is one of the reports where you can break things down, break down the total of your giving by the fund. And okay, this is neat. We've got a couple of different measures here. We've got numbers of donors. We've got total given. That's great. But let's just say, for instance, you wanted to add a few more funds in. Okay, maybe you did that at the query level. So then you've got to go into the query and you've got to change it there, and then you've got to rerun the report. Or maybe you filtered it inside of the standard report. Then you have to do the same thing. You have to go in, redo the report, rerun the report, and then hopefully it's correct. Same thing if you want to add additional measures, like let's say the number of gifts instead of the number of donors. In visual analytics tools like Tableau, this is a really simple thing to do. I mentioned earlier, you can put this information, this list of gifts. It's the same query that you might have run in your standard report. Well, you can also take that query, that gift information from the query, and you can put it in a pivot table in Excel, and it's going to look something like this. It's pretty easy to do, but it can be kind of difficult to work with at the same time if you need to make minute changes, like let's say you need to again add in a specific fund, or then you need to add in counting the number of donors or counting the number of gifts. Okay, so the fastest way to do that is instead with a visual analytics tool like Tableau. This is Tableau Desktop, but you can also use Tableau Public Edition, and it is free. Let's open up a text file. Let's open up the same results from the query. So this is the exact same data that powers the query in standard reports. A few things that you might want to include: the constituent ID, the fund description, the fund ID, the gift date and the gift ID, and anything else that you want to provide some dimension to, that you want to specify some sort of breakdown, some sort of analysis. So let's take a look at how this will work, okay? The first thing is I want to grab the fund description from these specific funds in the previous report, okay? So let's go ahead and do excellence in arts and sciences, excellence in aviation technology, excellence in chemistry, excellence in geology, and excellence in history. Let's see, was that everything? Civil engineering and culinary arts. Okay, so that is everything. And now I'll move my description over, and I've got pretty much the same thing as I did before. Now I want to add in the specific gift date. And in this case, I want to include just the gift range that we included, which was July 1st to May 31st. Okay, so this is a fiscal year, and we can do this really quickly in Tableau. I'm going to go ahead and select just 2025, but I need to make a change that this is going to be a fiscal year that starts in July. All right. Next, let's go ahead and grab the gift amount. And now I have the gift amount in this column over here. Okay, looks good. And let's put in a grand total. And there we go. And it looks like we're missing one thing, and that is regular engineering. So it is as simple in this to update this is just making one more click. If you were trying to do this in, let's say, your query, or let's say you had already run your report, you would have to go back into your query and rerun the report, or you would have to go back into your filter in the standard report, and then you would have to rerun the report. And here it is much faster. So 127,403. And let's make sure that's the same, 127,403. Okay, so we did it exactly the same, and this is cool. Okay, but what if we wanted to do something to provide maybe a little bit more analysis? So this was a specific year, right? We can tell this by going straight to the gift date. And now we have fiscal year 25. And one thing I am missing from the canned report, the standard report, is number of donors. So let's go ahead and change that. I am going to take my constituent ID and I'm going to make a duplicate, and I'm going to drag it down to measures. I'm going to put my measure names up at the top under columns, and then I'm going to put measure values into text. And now I've got one thing I really didn't want, which is count of gifts. You could have added that in, but let's not do that right now. And instead of adding together the constituent IDs, I just want to count unique IDs. So now I have 35, 608, 2, 13, 5, 47, 44, 19, 11, and the total is 166. Let's see how that checks out. 166. Okay, now I mentioned earlier that you can do more on the fly, and this report was run as a summary report, but you can just as easily take the Tableau version and make it a comparison report. How do you do this? Well, right now we have fiscal year 25 selected, and let's just add in fiscal year 24. Now it's a comparison report, and it couldn't have been easier. It couldn't have been more simple. Let's say we want to add in what the difference between the values is. So we'll go to analysis, we'll show the row grand totals. Okay, so let's say we want to do something a little bit different with this, which is maybe show where the increases were or where the losses were by fund. And you can do this pretty simply by, I'm going to duplicate this and I am going to make a change. Let's say we're going to focus our analysis just on the gift amount. Let's remove that, and now we've got these two values right here, and we want to show, instead of adding them, we want to show what the difference between the two of them was. So let's go to a quick table calculation for a difference, and now it already populated what that was, and I am going to go ahead and just hide this. One thing we can do to maybe highlight changes is we can apply a field to this, and this is a highlight table, and we can show visually whether it is an increase or a decrease, and we can change the colors to make it a little bit more clear what's happening. Let's just use red, green diverging, and let's use a 2-color step process, and let's go ahead and apply that. And now we have the increases year over year and the decreases year over year, and you can put this right next to it on the same report in a dashboard, so you can throw the parts of it together to show where the increases were, where the decreases were, and you could go on and on with adding in other kinds of dimensions, other breakdowns. It really becomes a question of imagination at that point. For instance, we can start with this sheet here. Let's duplicate that, and let's say we want a breakdown by gift type. We want to break it down within the fund. And so now we can see the breakdown between one-time gifts and pledges and where those occurred. Let's say instead of the fund description, it's better to have fund ID. You can swap that in and out. And Tableau makes this very simple. To run all of these changes in standard reports, if it were even possible, it would mean having to rerun that standard report every single time. There really is a lot of customization that can happen very quickly in a visual analytics platform, which just cannot happen as quickly in the standard reports or in Excel for that matter. Okay, we'll catch you next time.